tying up just a basic little blue-winged olive nymph today. This one, just some mallard flank legs and tail on it, a little bit of dubbing, wing case, using a Goose Biot for the abdomen on this, which gives it kind of a nice rigid little look and segmentation on it. But it's a very quick and effective little blue-winged olive nymph. I'll get busy tying. I'm going to start this blue-winged olive nymph with my hook and the vise. This is a Mustad 3906B in a size 10. You could use a little bit smaller if you want. It's harder to go a little bit bigger than this because the biots that we're going to use in the abdomen, you have to have, if you can get some nice full long biots, great. But you could take this a little bit bigger if you wanted to. After I debarb the hook, I'm going to attach my thread. I'm using a 70 Denier Danville in olive. Actually, before I put that on, I'm going to put some lead wraps on here. I'm going to use some lead wire in a 0.010 lead wire. And I'm only going to put maybe about 10 wraps of lead on here. Just to give me a little bit of weight. It's going to be up underneath the thorax. Like I said, this is just about 10, 12 wraps total once I get this tag flattened off here. Put all that together, leave that up towards the front. I'm going to attach my thread right behind the eye of the hook. And then reaching back, I'm going to bring my thread back to the back of those lead wraps, snugging those back up. Build a little bit of a thread dam in the back here, just to smooth that off a little bit. Come back up to the front, build just a little bit of a thread dam. It's going to lock that lead into place, and it's going to give me a nice transition so the material doesn't drop off a ledge or anything. Bring my thread all the way back to the end of the shank. Now I'm ready to tie in the tail. This is a pretty simple little blue-winged olive pattern. I'm going to use for tail and legs, I'm going to be using some barbs off this mallard flank. I like to use the bigger ones because the barbs are a little fuller, meaning they have more barbules on them. They have a nicer color to them. I should say a full kind of modeling to them. I'm going to tie this in so that it's about a shank length long. Doesn't have to be super long. Wrap that back just a little bit. And then I'm going to wrap up towards that lead, kind of smoothing that off. This is where the abdomen's going to be. Use my thread to lash all that down and smooth it off. Now we'll tie in the biot for our abdomen. I'm just using some Goose Biot here. This is not the longest in the world, but it's not bad. Now I'll give you a little tip here. What we're looking for when we peel this biot off, we want to actually peel it off and not cut it off, because when we peel it off on this end that was on the actual rachis of the feather, we get a little notch right there. That notch is important because depending on how you wrap this in, you can end up with what looks like a segmented body that's nice and smooth, or you can wrap it in such that you have the segmented body, but you have a little ridge of material that actually looks kind of like a ribbing and gives it a little bit more depth. In order to get that, you have to have this little notch tied in facing down. because when you tie it in facing down, it's going to flip over like this as you start to wrap it in. And when it does that, it's this edge right over here that then stands up and gives you that little ridge. So it's just something to keep in mind. You'll know it when you go to tie these and you tie it in and you don't see it. You'll remember that that notch has to be facing down when you go to wrap it in. So I'll anchor the tip of that, bring my thread right up to the back of that lead, taking my hackle pliers. I'll bring this around and notice that notch was facing down. It's now facing to my right. I grab this with my hackle pliers, and then you just want to gently wrap this around to make up the abdomen. And when we do, you notice I get that little ridge that's standing up there. Let me reattach my hackle pliers. They seem to be twisting it a little bit. Like I said, if you can find longer biots, great. I mean, you can get some out there. Turkey is not quite as long as the goose. Duck is going to be even shorter. So generally, it is the goose biots that you're looking for. I'm going to anchor the end of that. And that gives me my abdomen portion. Be nice to have maybe another wrap in there just a little bit longer, but there again, if you're going to tie this on, say, this is a size 10 hook, so if you're going to tie this on a 12 or 14, then that will be just fine. I'm going to tie in a wing case now. I'm going to use some pheasant tail for the wing case on this. I want to go ahead and get a fairly, I'd say a dozen barbs off that for the wing case. These are just going to get folded over, so I don't have to worry about the length so much. I just want to get those together, place them up here, and tie those in as my wing case. Bring that back just a little bit. And then I'm going to apply some dubbing. I've got just this is a life cycle dubbing, and this is a medium nymph olive. Life cycle is kind of nice. It has some Antron yarn in it to give it a little bit of a sparkle and some natural rabbit in it. Ends up looking nice and buggy. I'm going to wrap forward a little bit and back. I just want to make the thorax a little bit more pronounced than the abdomen. Not hugely. You want to keep in mind you've got some proportions you want to kind of keep on this. My thread should be just right in front of that thorax. Now here I'm going to tie in some more mallard flank. I've got a little bit more mallard flank here. And this is for some legs. So I'm only going to get maybe about 5 or 6 barbs here out for both sides. This is the only thing that's kind of cumbersome on this fly. You could, if you wanted to, look at this as kind of like a pheasant tail nymph where you measure these appropriately, you fold them over, and then slide them back out real quick for the legs. I just as soon tie in some mallard flank here like this. I can pull that back a little bit to get that to the length that I need. Gets me a little bit right there. Do the same thing for the other side. Nothing fancy. Certainly nothing overcomplicated. Same thing on this side. couple of wraps to secure it on there, and I can pull it to the right to get it just the right length that I want. Nice legs sticking out on the sides. A few more wraps to make certain that's tidied in there. Trim away the excess. Now, with my thread just a little bit behind the eye of the hook, I'll fold over this wing case and I'll tie that in. A few wraps to secure it. I'll trim away the excess. Tidy it all up with a nice little head. Put in my whip finish. Trim away the thread. Probably should have pulled that wing case a little bit tighter, but I think ultimately, I mean, it's a fishing fly, so it's going to do fine. Head cement on there to soak down and seal that up. You could put a little bit of UV and or epoxy on the wing case if you want to try and give that a little sheen, have it be protected a little bit more, but it's not really a difficult fly to tie, so I think it's fairly quick and easy. That is a little blue-winged olive. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. And what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.